seats in school classrooms. Infrastructure is important, but it's not the beginning and the end of planning and growth management. We have to have a vision for our future growth. We have to have a vision for our urban areas. We have to have a vision for our rural areas. We have to give urban areas the tools and flexibility they need to produce quality cities. We need to eliminate unnecessary regulatory constraints which have prevented urban development, redevelopment, and infill. We have to, first of all, address the issue of transportation and land use in urban areas. I am convinced that for 20 years now, we have been following a course with regard to transportation concurrency that makes it difficult, if not impossible, for our cities to develop the urban transportation systems which are needed to make great cities, livable cities. It has prevented them from developing the other transportation options which are necessary if large urban areas are going to be functional. We have to address that issue. We have to change. It's not that we abandon transportation concurrency in urban areas. It's that we need new approaches to transportation concurrency in urban areas, and it has to take into consideration more than just roads. It has to take into consideration all of the other transportation modes that are needed in urban areas. We have to encourage local governments with large rural and agricultural areas to begin to plan comprehensively for the inevitable growth and development that's going to occur in rural areas. That has been a neglected part of our planning process for the most part. When we embarked upon this new experiment 20 years ago, the focus was upon our urban areas, primarily on the coast, where most of our population growth was occurring, where most people who came to Florida wanted to live. While we, and I recall this very vividly at the department, talked about the need for better rural planning, while we presented forums and workshops on approaches to planning in rural areas and brought down people like Randall Eric and others to talk about how you can plan in rural areas to accommodate development in a way that doesn't destroy the character of those areas, that doesn't eliminate agriculture. But for the most part, I think local governments did not respond to that message, and they took the easy way out. And if you read many of our plans today with large rural areas, you will find they certainly don't have a vision for those areas, and they certainly don't receive the attention that our urban areas receive. We are seeing now too much ad hoc, piecemeal development proposals in rural areas that have no vision, that have no planning beyond the 1 unit per 5 acre agricultural land use designation. These areas and the local governments in which they're located must begin to address that issue before it's too late. I do not exaggerate when I say that the volume of proposals for large-scale development, which we are now receiving from the rural and agricultural areas of our state, are startling. Even though we're in an economic downturn, we are receiving proposals for creation of large new cities, new towns. We have the Rural Land Stewardship Program in addition, which may give rise to significant development in those areas. We have people waiting in line to undertake sector plans if the limit of 5 sector plans is removed from the legislation. I think it is imperative that we do not wait until it's too late to address our rural areas in a responsible manner. We expect different things from our urban areas and our rural areas. Different planning approaches are required in rural areas than in urban areas. But we must plan appropriately before it's too late. To this end, the Department will be proposing legislation in 2008 to address these issues. We are all fortunate that we will be able to build on the strong foundation laid by John McGrove and others in the Florida legislature in 1985. And hopefully we have learned from our experience over the last 25 years. Our challenges are great. It will not be easy to find solutions that please everyone, but we must make the effort. We will be making the effort in challenging times. We all know about Florida's budgetary crises. We all have read about the sharp downturn in state revenues and the prediction that we will continue in this mode probably for at least a couple of more years. But we can't call a timeout while that's occurring. Now is the time to address these challenges. We have other challenges, and I would be remiss if I did not mention the issue of hometown democracy. I think by now everyone knows what that proposal is, but for those who haven't been reading or listening, I'll just repeat it one more time. The proposal would amend Florida's Constitution to require a public referendum on each and every amendment to every local plan before it can be approved by local government. I personally believe that is a terrible solution to the problem that may exist. An impractical, unworkable solution, extremely expensive, one that will be extremely divisive, that will tax the ability of every citizen and resident, and is certainly no way to do rational, intelligent planning. But we would make a serious mistake if we allow the extremity, the draconian nature of the solution offered to blind us to the perceived problems which have given rise to this movement. I think it is an indication of growing citizen dissatisfaction with the way we've been dealing with growth and development. A high level of cynicism among citizens about local comprehensive plans and the local planning process, which seems to be characterized by an endless round of amendments, every planning style. Amendments to every aspect of the comprehensive plan, every 6 months. Not only future land use map amendments, but to the fundamental policies of the plan. I think this has undermined the credibility and reliability and stability of local plans. And it has certainly eroded